All right, you whippersnappers on the internet. Settle down, gather round your nan's telly, cause Scotty McG's here with another XDefiant Unfiltered rant. The only show where the establishment gets a right good kicking in the proverbials. Now the world's gone a bit balmy, hasn't it? Politicians squabbling like toddlers in a sandpit, the price of a decent cup of tea going up faster than a rogue balloon in a hurricane, and don't even get me started on social media, a cesspool of misinformation and narcissism that make even the Kardashians blush. But fear not, loyal viewers, because today we're gonna XDefy all that nonsense. We're gonna dissect the latest batch of a hogwash from the suits in power, expose the hypocrisy like a cheap toupee in a windstorm, and have a right good laugh while we're at it. So if you're tired of the same old, if you're ready to give the system the middle finger, then smash that like button harder than a toddler on a sugar rush, hit that subscribe button like it owes you money, and most importantly, stick around for this XDefiant rant because it's gonna be a doozy. Alright, settle down there, champ, you with your fancy Reddit handle, ready attorney. Must be a right laugh down the pub, that one. Now you've come here, well, to the internet, which is basically the same thing these days, to tell us all about your woes with XDefiant. Let's just say, you're not exactly the first to join the choir of folks singing the blues, are you? First off, profound dissatisfaction. Blimey, you wouldn't think it was a game. You'd think it nicked your last pint down the Rover's return. Calm down. There's plenty more games in the sea. Now the movement, gunplay, hit detection. All a right mess, apparently. Sounds like your character's got all the coordination of a pensioner on roller skates after a sherry trifle. And the hit detection? Half the time your bullets don't register? Well, that's just peachy. Makes you wonder if they're using firing pins made of soggy tea bags. But hold on a minute, matey. You say your KD's gone from hero to zero, win rate's tanked faster than a dodgy curry, and you're adamant it's not your fault? I'm not saying you're a walking disaster zone, but have you considered maybe, just maybe, you're not quite the frag machine you think you are? Just a thought. Then there's the matchmaking. Apparently you're consistently lumbered with teammates who couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. Look, the matchmaking might be a right dog's dinner, but maybe, just maybe, a bit of self-reflection wouldn't go amiss, eh? And the patch notes, focusing on the UI instead of the fundamentals? Well, love, have you seen the state of some of the interfaces these days? Makes a bloke nostalgic for the days of DOS prompts. But hey, at least they're doing something right, patching the holes in the virtual ship, even if it's just the deck chairs at the moment. So what's the verdict then? XDefiant's the right state, is it? Uninstalled, is it? Well, you do you, son. But before you go chucking your toys out the pram, remember, sometimes the problem might be staring back at you from the mirror. Just a thought from a grumpy old git who's seen his fair share of gaming fads come and go. Moving on, now the word on the street, well, Reddit gutter, is there's a right kerfuffle about the whole bunny hopping business. Apparently some folks are gazelles on Red Bull bouncing about the map like Tigger and a trampoline, while the rest of us are stuck down here like slugs in treacle. Now first off, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? These aftermarket controllers with the fancy paddles and whatnot, that's about as subtle as a clown car full of kazoos, innit? Basically saying, I spent more on my controller than some folks spend on rent to get an unfair advantage. That's about as socialist as a yacht club. Now the young gamers, bless their cotton socks, are calling it a skill issue. Aye, right. Skill or selective evolution where thumbs sprout extra limbs for maximum button mashing, because let's be honest, this whole bunny hopping lark looks less like tactical brilliance and more like a toddler having a sugar rush. Look, I get it, you want to keep up with the bionic bunnies out there, but here's a thought. How about we focus on a bit of good old-fashioned gunplay? You know, the whole point of a shooter. Maybe instead of mastering the art of the kangaroo impersonation, we learn to, I don't know, aim and strategize. Now Big Ant here, bless his cotton socks, lays it all out. The way things are and the way they shouldn't stay. Couldn't have said it better myself. Guns, total shambles. Snipers, one-shotting you faster than you can say Brexit shambles. Lovely. Meanwhile, some rifles are like laser pointers held by toddlers. You could fire one at a barn door from 10 feet away and miss. And the shotguns? Don't even get me started. Firing one of those things feels like trying to tickle a badger with a feather duster. Useless. Then there's the movement. Janky as a politician's morals. You slide, more like wading through treacle. Jump, more like geriatric attempting to hop over a puddle. Where's the fluidity? Where's the fun? Makes you feel like you're lugging around a mobility scooter with a flat tire. And the kill times, faster than a politician changing their stance on immigration. You die, you respawn in the blink of an eye. Makes every kill feel about as significant as a fly landing on your pasty. Every death, a mere inconvenience, like forgetting your brew at home. It's all a bit pointless, innit? And speaking of pointless, what's with these invisible walls? You see a ledge, looks perfectly jumpable. You go for it, full of that youthful exuberance we all miss. Bam! Invisible barrier slams you back down to earth harder than a student loan repayment. And what is this? The dark ages of gaming? Invisible walls are about as exciting as watching paint dry, and frankly, just as useful. Now we're dipping our toes in the cesspool of... what was it? Oh, right. Wanting to chat to the other lot. Apparently some folks, bless their cotton socks, miss the good old days of tactical teabagging and strategic spouse berating across the digital divide. You know, the peak online gaming experience where everyone sounds like a malfunctioning Dalek after a particularly spicy curry. Now me, I can see the appeal. There's a certain charm to hearing a 15-year-old erupt like a geisha after getting sniped from across the map. It's like watching a toddler lose at musical chairs, except with more bad language and existential dread. But here's the thing, pal. This ain't your granddad's Call of Duty anymore. This, according to the XDefiant overlords, is the no hand-holding OG experience. Apparently, hand-holding includes knowing what the other team is planning, or worse, having a laugh with them after you've both gotten wiped out by a rogue frag grenade. You see, folks, this is about pure, unadulterated skill. No room for banter, just bullets and bruised egos. Now, I get it, they're trying to avoid the toxic cesspool that online chat can become, but let's be honest, the internet was practically built on flaming and trolling. It's like trying to run a pub without any beer. Sure, it's technically possible, but is it really any fun? Besides, a bit of healthy trash talk never hurt anyone. Well, maybe except that one guy who cried after I called him a tactical numpty back in '07. Still, point stands. Look, if you want a truly OG experience, here's what you do. Grab a pen and some paper, write down a bunch of insults, shove them in a catapult, and launch them at your neighbour's window. That's practically the same experience, only with less screen lag and a higher chance of a restraining order. But hey, that's just me. Maybe I'm just a grumpy old git who misses the simpler times of online gaming. What do you lot reckon? Fancy a good old chinwag with the enemy team, or are you happy with the silent treatment? Leave a comment below. And remember, if you do get verbally abused online, just picture them in their mum's basement, wearing a stained bathrobe and eating cold beans straight from the tin. Trust me, it'll make it all the more hilarious. Bite Atomer UD on Reddit, banging on about needs more challengers. Have you ever considered just perhaps that maybe XDefiant doesn't need to be your second job? Here's the thing, isn't the whole point of a game, you know, to have a bit of a right good laugh? A chance to unwind after a day spent being bossed around by some bean counter in a suit tighter than a taxman's smile? There's no wrong with a challenge, mind you. A bit of healthy competition keeps the blood pumping. But 1,000 challenges? 1,000,000 points? You lot sound like you're training for some dystopian esports Olympics commentated by a lobotomized robot. Look, I get it. You want that dopamine rush. That sweet, sweet validation of a fancy title card. But here's a newsflash. Life ain't all participation trophies, sunshine. Sometimes winning's just about having a good scrap, outsmarting the other numpties, and maybe even cracking a joke while you're at it. Besides, where's the challenge in racking up 1,000,000 points when half the lobby's still figuring out which end of the gun goes bang? These challenges you're suggesting, half of them sound like something out of a Black Mirror episode. Kill every member of the enemy team without dying. Are we training assassins or playing a game? Here's a challenge for you lot. How about you try, actually enjoying yourselves? Working together with your Defiant squad. Come up with some batty strategies. Heck, even try losing a bit of style. There's more to life and to XDefiant than chasing pixels and leaderboards. Right then, that's all I've got for you today. Bunch of clowns, a lot of them. Wouldn't know a decent conspiracy theory from a Greg's sausage roll. Speaking of clowns, have you played this XDefiant? Looks like a Riot Royal dust-up. Another cash grab microtransaction machine designed to suck the joy out of your grandkids' piggy bank. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. A grumpy old sod from Yorkshire who remembers when video games were about fun, not lining the pockets of corporate suits who wouldn't know a frag grenade from a fancy teacup. If you want a proper rant, a full-on XDefiant takedown that'll leave you snorting tea out your nose, then hit that subscribe button like a politician dodging a tax audit. And don't forget to like the video, you useless bunch